Welcome to First Issues. The FNB Botswana Budget Review Seminar evening session was, of course, preceded by the morning session, where First Issues was fortunate enough to have a sit-down chat with SEDA CEO Thabo Thamani and Dr. Margaret Sengwaketse, who is Executive Director, Business Intelligence at BITC.
We are unpacking the national budget following the FNB Botswana Budget Review Seminar morning session. So first, before we go any further into our question, please share with us what your thoughts are on the budget.
My interrogation of the budget reveals that, one, it was a people-centered budget. And I say that because, first and foremost, there were engagement of people around to give feedback into the budget. But at the same time, as you look at the distribution of the budget, it talks more to people, the human capital. And again, what I picked out of the budget was that it's a stimulus budget. And the reason why I'm saying it's a stimulus budget is because this budget was developed under certain economic conditions. And those ones that I'll highlight, for instance, geopolitical tension, climate change effects, global inflation, high unemployment rate, and the slow recovery of the economy from the effects of COVID-19. Those are very challenging economic circumstances. Hence why it's a stimulus budget, because the minister was really saying, look, I need to put a lot of money into the economy to stimulate the economy.
I think in summary, the budget is very, very transformative. Transformative in the sense that it touches on the key pillars of Vision 2036. And there's consistency and alignment, actually, in terms of the aspirations of the budget, aspirations of the Vision 2036, and the national development plans, from NDP 11 to the Transitional National Development Plan, and then also thoughts on the National Development Plan 12. There are maybe 2-3 key areas that I think are very, very important in terms of, how the transformation, as I see it, pans out. The first one is on the budget on infrastructure development and spatial planning. The second aspect, it relates to the significant budget that has been allocated to agriculture, one of the sectors which is actually key to the transformation agenda and actualization of Vision 2036. And not only that, but also in terms of, value chain development. We've also looked at, the amount of financial resources allocated to research and development. Vision 2036 talks about a knowledge-based economy, that we aspire to be a knowledge-based economy in 2036. And when you look at the our ranking as Botswana in terms of Global Innovation Index, we ranked third in the rest of Africa in the latest ranking, which was 2023. So you see consistency in terms of government commitment to research and development. I think we need that in order to be able to, transform.
As far as development and everything associated, one might argue that finances have never been an issue, but rather successfully implementing and managing projects. So as a partner or even an extension of government, how do you think this problem of failing to successfully implement and manage projects can be eradicated?
There are two aspects to it, in my view. The kind of implementation monitoring, the capacity to monitor the implementation of projects is a very key aspect that we need to look at in terms of trying to improve in that area. The capacity to be able to visit projects and make sure that the project timelines are adhered to, the quality of the products themselves, the projects themselves, something which is very, very important. The second aspect is actually the capacity of those that are actually implementing the projects themselves, the contractors, if I were to put it like that. So we need to probably continuously work together to ensure that, one, the capacity to implement on the part of government is actually up to scratch, but also the capacity to implement on the part of the private sector as well, in terms of the contractors themselves. But what is going to be very key as well is how would we monitor implementation? What is our consequence management systems like? So those kind of issues need to be taken into account when you talk about implementation monitoring.
Look, one of the biggest challenges that we've been talking about, in recent times and many years back, is implementation. As a country, we have very, very robust policies. We've got very good laws. We've got very good regulations. But the biggest challenge for us is implementation. And I think, quite honestly and frankly, there must be consequences for non-implementation. I mean, why else would you want to have passengers in the team when they're not putting that effort? For me personally, that is it. But even before you get there, you've got to create an enabling environment for people to be able to succeed. You've got to be able to give people resources for them to be able to achieve. And once you've provided all those, and then they still don't do what is expected of them, then consequence management has to kick in. But at the same time, this is supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. The government is saying, I want to do this. But it is up to the citizenry, the people, to basically say, I'm going to do this. And they must do that with conviction, with objectivity, with perseverance and effort. It can't be a situation whereby, government says, I'm giving you this, and we are just eating. And that's it, without putting our skin in the game.
Speaking of having your skin in the game and this being a symbiotic relationship, government introduced the Chema Chema fund, seeded with 200 million bula. So as somebody who's a captain of an organization that is spearheading funding citizen projects, what untapped opportunities do you think are there that Botswana can use this fund for to either expand their businesses, diversify, and even start their own businesses?
I'm going to respond in different ways. One, I'm quite happy that government has now recognized to a larger extent, even to the extent of now talking about it in the budget and allocating funds for the informal sector. I think that's a very key aspect, because there were so many schools of thoughts. Other people believe that informal sector are those people that needs to be given just handouts, social allowances. But remember, informal sector, these are the people that walk the streets. Today they're here, they hustle, they hustle for their lives. And you've got to be able to do something for them. And you've got to be able to create an environment where they can move from an informal sector to a sub-formal sector, and now a formal sector. So it's got to be a transition, because when you take the person from an informal sector to a formalized sector, it's a shock. All of a sudden they look at a formal sector which is, fraught with a lot of regulations and compliance, and then they'll run away. You see, for me, I think that's the first plus, with regards to what the budget looked like, and that's why I'm saying it was an illuminating budget. It really created light for people. And secondly, in response to that, is the informal sector, or rather the financial services sector as a whole, including development financing institutions and everyone else, is that we can no longer say money is a problem. We can no longer say money is a problem, because government has availed many programs. We can go back, starting with FAP, SEME, YOSIDA, Women Finance, and all these other finances programs that are all over the shore. You see, that is not an issue, but the issue is around coming up with innovative ideas. The issue is around looking at the economy and saying, where is a gap? And I would advise the informal sector to not only look at the services sector only. They must also look at the manufacturing sector. They must also look at the tourism sector, transportation sector, and other sectors where they can actually identify a gap and find a niche in.
Let us expound further on the businesses that exist. maybe we could speak to your top 3 factors that lead to failure in business and how you think those factors or challenges can be addressed or even eradicated.
Top 3. Okay, there are many. As a practitioner in the development finance space, the biggest challenge that we see that leads to some failure of projects. One is, lack of payment on time to suppliers, especially small and medium enterprises. And this is a vicious cycle. And it's a vicious cycle because, one day you supply a commodity or a product to a government entity or a private sector. And this lack of payment is not only government, by the way. Yeah. It's across. You supply this particular product, and we accept the product as the consumers. Let's give an example that it's this chair. We accept the chair. I sit on it every day, but I take 4 months to pay you. Why? For me, it's a question of lack of consequences. Yeah, that is the biggest downfall of small medium enterprises, because then they are forced to go to other unorthodox methods of asking for debt or for credit rather, and then at exorbitant prices, and then it's a vicious cycle, and they will never recover. Some of them will just die. Secondly, one of the other causes of business failure is over-regulation. And sometimes, even if regulation has been simplified, it is us, the people who are supposed to implement the rules, that make it difficult to the beneficiary, being the supplier. Tomorrow we include this regulation, tomorrow is the other regulation. And the lack of impact assessment on any law that is being made, or any sub-law that is being made. If you do an impact assessment before, and this can be in town hall meetings so that people can actually contribute, then that way you will then be able to ascertain that this is not going to be an impediment. And the last one, which is part of the top 3 and not necessarily exhaustive, is that it is us, the small and medium enterprises, where we expect government to do everything for them, where each time you're supposed to put your skin in the game, you start complaining, you start blaming everyone else but not you. You see, the issue is that, and for as long as we don't have this mindset change, that we can only succeed if it is a symbiotic relationship between us and any other market, then we'll forever have these problems. But there are many others that I can outline. These, for me, are the top 3.
This program was brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.